This week in the zone, we're hunting with Centerfire Outfitters. We'll be spotting and stalking the giant mule deer bucks of southern Alberta. Don't go away. When it was time for us to take the crew on a bow hunt for mule deer, the obvious choice for me was southern Alberta. Southern Alberta has long been known for its absolutely phenomenal archery mule deer hunting. However, in the foothills region on the west part of the province, there's a nice little secret that not too many people know about where you can really get some great stockable situations, and I know an outfitter there. His name is Tanner Wolgenbach, Centerfire Outfitters. Just got a brand new lodge, not even done yet. We get to test it out for him, break it in.
It's somewhat done.
It's gorgeous, I love it. And look at the view, wow. I met Tanner and Megan while I was filming a Dall sheep hunt in the Northwest Territories a couple of years ago. I find out that they own Centerfire Outfitters in southwest Alberta. Didn't take long for me to figure out I need to put a mule deer hunt together with these folks. I've always dreamed about hunting in country just like this. I mean, I honestly have just always wanted to kick off my boots and get in the rocks and try to get close to a mule deer. And finally, this trip was my chance to do that.
Oh, that is a gorgeous buck, you're right. That thing is just tremendous. Man, how do you get on those things?
We'll have to make sure those other guys bed up.
And that's a challenge because, I mean, there's 8 or 10 bucks in here, isn't there? Maybe more.
Yeah, there's about 6 on top, and there's another 7 or 8
7.
still feeding below.
So 13 bucks we got to navigate through.
And one was a slammer. It was a non-typical, heavy-horned beauty, and she said, this is a buck you're going to want to get a good look at. Let's go.
That's the 3-point.
Okay, so those other ones are probably on the other side. We thought they disappeared, maybe got out of the country. So we snuck around on the backside to get the wind in our favor. Saw a nice rack sticking up about 120 yards out, maybe 150. I don't think he's on to us. He just bedded there with his horn sticking out. They have a hard time hiding those 18-inch tall antlers out here in this grass.
So we got the wind in our favor, got on the backside of the mountain, and started our stalk on 13 bucks. It required a lot of belly crawling, a lot of stalking, a little bit of coaching from Megan, but pretty soon I found myself 50 yards away from 13 mule deer bucks. And I needed to make another good 20 before I could think about shooting. So I crawled and I was gaining ground, and I thought, okay, that should be it. And I turned around and looked at Megan, and I'd only covered 7 yards. So here we go again. And the yards don't come easy in this country. You work for every single one. The last thing Megan told me when she said go on in for the final is sit there and wait for the wind to die down so your arrow flight's good. And number 2, she said don't shoot the big wide 4x4. If you shoot him, you're going to be disappointed because he's not very tall. I lay there, I take a few breaths, and I'm just waiting for the wind to die down just a little bit. When the wind finally lets up for a minute, I mean, it's time. I raise up, draw my bow, and get ready to pick out that big old non-typical buck. Well, when I raised up to draw, I figured the deer would have seen me and start standing up, but they didn't. It's early in the season, it's the first day of the archery season, and I didn't realize these bucks are not wound very tight at this point. They're still in their summer slumber mode. So there I sat at full draw and waited for that buck to stand up. And guess who stood up first? Big old number 4. Stood up right in front and blocked for that non-typical just perfectly. I had no shot.
The Zone is brought to you by Bad Boy Buggies. They'll never hear you coming. And by Thompson Center, Nikon, Western Powders, OutfittersRating.com, and Nosler. Load Nosler. Own the shot. This portion of The Zone is brought to you by Thermacell.
So explain this to me. What is going on here?
Well, what you don't see is there's a dozen bucks bedded all around this deer. And when this deer stands up, he blocks perfectly for the 185 incher that's directly behind him. And once you know, that 4x4 is the one that Megan told me specifically that I wasn't supposed to shoot. So all I can do is sit there, stay ready, and hope for the best. Have an experience like that on the first day of your hunt, the first morning of your hunt, is just awesome. I mean, it just set the tone for the whole hunt. To stalk in 50 yards from 13 bucks and a couple really nice ones and one giant in the bunch, it was just like, okay, here we go. Southern Alberta, here we are, now let's go. Spot and stalk mule deer hunting with a bow is a very athletic type of a hunt. It's active, it's entertaining, it's educational. I mean, you really learn a lot. And having not hunted mule deer with a bow before, I learned a lot on this trip. You're spotting for these deer that, you know, they might be in a sunny spot where they can look out over a vast area on a nice, cool day. And then the heat comes and gets up like it did this week, 80, 90 degrees. And all of a sudden you're looking in the rocks, you're looking in the shade for the deer. So that's one thing I learned on this trip was where to look for those big mule deer bucks during different conditions.
There's a buck in there. They're all bucks, 4 bucks.
If you're gonna go on a spot and stalk mule deer hunt, you grab the best glass you got and you take it, because optics are the key ingredient to a successful mule deer hunt.
2 bears. Blonde one and a chocolate brown, 244 yards. We've absolutely been picking this country apart today with our glasses. We've seen 40 bucks, 2 black bears, and you gotta pick your battles too. You don't wanna go chasing after every deer that you see. It's too big a country for that. Geez, that front one is looking good. We're gonna go get above them in the rocks and see if there's a way where we can sneak down on top of them. They might ease up towards us, but I don't think they're gonna bust through you. Ease up. Ease up, they're all looking down. Figured they would pick their way up here and give us time to get in front of them when they went to feed. Coyote or something came up below them. They all stood up and started looking down. He came down 100 yards out, no shot. Well, hopefully that's the low point of the hunt. Hopefully we're gonna get him tomorrow. Because he is beautiful.
This portion of the zone is brought to you by Silver Scent.
We're gonna start our day this morning with a little ground blind set up here, right along this water hole. They may come to water. It's supposed to be 90 today. Boy, they got a ton of does with them. Yeah, that's a great buck. He's just an awesome stud. That's a 180 for sure. They're gonna get there ahead of us.
Of course, the objective is to get bow range from a big mule deer buck and somehow get an arrow in it. The strategy for doing that is to cruise around on the buggy and look great distances covered. Just pick apart the country with the best optics you got and find a buck that you want to stalk. Once you've found that buck, then it's game on. Don't waste any time. He may get up and reposition. You need to pinpoint that buck, find out how you're going to approach him, keep the wind right, and get in close for a shot. After that first windy day that we had with 40-knot winds, the wind just stopped, and we had to totally change our strategy at this point. We got out our heat gear because it got up to 90 degrees and took off our boots and started walking on in our stocking feet just to get anywhere close to a buck. And what we found is, number one, they can even hear that. Those big ears will tell them that you're coming. And the other thing is, with no wind, you get swirling currents, and that's what we fought all week long. Busted stalk after busted stalk.
Wind switched on us. We have not been on a stalk yet that the wind didn't switch 180 degrees at least between when we left and when we got there. And these deer may not have winded us. The wind switching may have just caused them to go look for a different bedding spot, so we're just gonna back off of them, let them go, relax. They'll bed down again.
Stalking mule deer in southern Alberta, take 27. Stalking these bucks in the rocks is one thing, but when you catch these buggers out in the wide open and it's a buck you want to get on, sometimes you just say, all right, how can we do it? There's gotta be a way. What can we use? And the other night we found a buck. It was a big one, a big old heavy rack buck, and we wanted him bad. The only way we could get close for the shot was to use a fence for our only cover.
All right, James, I see you crawling here, but it looks to me like you're on the wrong side of that fence.
True. From the right side of the fence, we had no cover, nothing, and it was dead calm. So at this point, we're either done, we get up and walk back to the truck, or we try something crazy. So we belly under to the wrong side of the fence, and those posts were stacked right against each other. And we thought, if we can get another 25 yards, those posts will start widening up, and then maybe we're in range and can get a shot through the fence. What we didn't count on is those big radar ears.
Square.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they beat us fair and square. We had the wind to our advantage.
We had a fence for a cover.
Yeah, the fence was
I
good.
don't know. It must have been just the sound, eh? It's
Must
just
have
tinder
been.
dry and
Yeah,
not enough wind to cover it.
yeah, another 5 miles an
I
hour.
thought we
wind.
had them. We made her to 75, eh?
Yeah,
if we get another crack at him.
Well, he seems to like this area.
Yeah.
So
Maybe tomorrow.
tomorrow's another day.
Yep.
This portion of the zone is brought to you by Purina Mills Antler Max.
So we had all these great encounters, and the wind was not right, and we were getting swirling wind currents that were busting us, and the deer were hearing us, and we were just having a time. After a week of frustrated, busted stalks, when we finally got close to those deer and we saw those tips peeking over the rock, and we were close, I mean, it was like a feeling I've never felt. I mean, you didn't think it was going to happen, and all of a sudden, there we were. We were in the zone and closing in.
Got him good.
Yeah, he's not going far. Whew. Oh, stalk number 27 of the week. That's the way it's supposed to work. After the shot, we hurried over to the edge of the rock so we could see where the buck went to and watch him go down. We thought. We went over and looked over the edge and saw all the other deer leaving the valley. So then we were sitting there saying, well, where did he go? We looked over the grass here and there, and we thought we covered everything, and he wasn't there. So you know how it goes. Every deer hunter knows, boy, when you make that shot, you know it's good, but then you start second guessing yourself. So we were scratching our heads. Finally, on the way back, we're looking around and we're gonna go back to the blood trail. Lo and behold, the deer was floating out in the middle of the lake. That's unbelievable.
There's no question that's him.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, that might be deeper than I think.
Yeah, I think I'll be swimming. He had boiled right off of that hillside and crashed right into the middle of that lake, and there he was.
Got your Red Cross swimming?
I do. I'm a lifeguard.
Well, I'll watch, because I swim like a rock.
All right.
Yeehaw.
After confirming with my guy Darren that the area doesn't have any poisonous water creatures or snapping turtles, I headed out after my buck, and that was definitely a retrieve that I'll never forget.
No snapping turtles in this
No.
province?
Safe. Yeah, he's a nice buck. Real nice buck.
Thanks for all your work this week.
Thanks for
That was awesome.
being a heck of a good hunter.
Guys, I say we go get the buggy and winch him from here.
You know he's not going to sink now.
Yeah.
I'd say we winch him up through the rocks.
Yeah, that'll just be easier on everything.
And to actually go through all the frustrations involved in a spot and stalk mule deer hunt for 5 days and then have it all come together right at the end was just an absolute over-the-top experience for me. Perseverance and patience.
Right.
You just keep after it, and pretty soon it comes together.
Yeah.
And it really did today.
In the end, a great shot.
And a recovery right smack in the middle of the lake. I wish I'd have seen him when he hit that water,
me too.
he had to be going a pretty good clip to end out in the middle.
Oh, well, I've never seen it before and probably never see it again.
Yeah, I hope not. It was cold. Absolutely awesome mule deer hunting. Thanks for hanging in there with us today. Remember, the #1 key to success is to get yourself in the zone.
The Zone is brought to you by Bill Jordan's Realtree, family, friends, and the outdoors. And by Under Armour. DLC Covert Trail Cameras. Goblin Grunt Outfitters. And the Magnum Hunt Club. Your adventure is our business. Closed captioning provided by Bog Pod, the sticks with the red grips.